Hello everyone and welcome to another How Lou Sees It review. This evening I am reviewing Sushi Roll. Yes, the follow-up to the amazing card game, one of my daughter's favorite games of all time, Sushi Go. They now have the dice game, Sushi Roll. Love the pun. I love puns. I think they're great. And the game is fantastic too. So we're looking at a pretty decently sized box here. And if you look, I love the themed kind of bamboo stuff that they use to roll sushi rolls in around the side. Pretty awesome. But what comes in the box? You have 5 of these player mats. So it is a game for 2 to 5 players. And so we each have a mat. There's going to be some conveyor belts, which we'll talk about. There's also a plethora of tokens here. We have swap tokens, reroll tokens, pudding tokens, and point tokens. And then we have a bag that is really, really nice quality bag, honestly. A lot of games that include bags, cloth bags, the bags are not that great. But this bag is really, really nice. It's just the functionality of it works. It's nice and thick. I just really like the bag. The dice, you got a bunch of dice in here, and they're great. We're going to be taking a closer look at those. Then you also have, of course, the rule set here. Okay, and so actually we were playing a game this evening. We were playing Maki Stack, which is from Blue Orange Games, about stacking sushi. And there's so many great sushi themed games out there, and now you're all probably going to be hungry for sushi. Sorry about that, but we're going to get into this game. Is published by GameRight, the same publisher as Sushi Go. And how does the gameplay work? So everyone's going to grab one of these little player boards, okay, player mats here, and you're going to take, so if we're playing, let's say a 3-player game here, we're going to take 3 of these conveyor belts, and one of the 5 conveyor belts has a red border. So what we do is we take those 3 conveyor belts, we turn them over, and we give them a good shuffle. It's like the little pea under a nut shell game here. I think it was this one. Oh no, was it? I totally lost track. Anyway, you're gonna hand those out, right? And you're gonna hand them out to people, and then everyone will flip it over and be like, "Oh yay, I'm first player!" And then so they have the conveyor belt, and everyone else will have a conveyor belt as well. We'll go ahead and give them a player board as well. And then the player board is nice because it also includes a little reminder of like, oh, let's see, pull out the game. It's been a week since we played this. How many tokens do we start with? Oh, wait a minute. It's on the player board right here. 2 swap tokens. So everyone would grab 2 swap tokens. And everyone would grab 3 reroll tokens to start the game. Okay, so once everyone's done that, then we open up the rule book because no one can ever remember how many dice we pull out. So for 3 players, we're going to pull out 7 dice. So we pass around this big bag and say, okay, we're going to pull out 7 dice, randomly. Okay, boom, 7 dice. And once everyone's pulled out 7 dice, everyone's going to roll their 7 dice. Okay, and then they will be placed on their conveyor belt in front of them, or the conveyor belt in front of them. It's not their conveyor belt. I guess it's kind of their conveyor belt, but it's a conveyor belt that is in front of them currently with a bunch of sushi and sushi items. And so once everyone has done that, well, I guess let's pull out some more dice. I want to show you an example here. So we're just going to grab some dice here, and it's got to be, wait, was it 7? I thought it said 8. No, 3 players, 7. Okay, got that. 6, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay. So randomly pulled out, rolled, okay? So everyone is now ready to go. Starting with the start player, which is who again? It is the one with the red border. they are going to now choose one of these dice. Now they do have an option. They can use as many of these tokens as they have in front of them. So they can choose to swap a bunch of dice. Well, you swap one die for every one of these that you want to use, or you can use one of these to re-roll any of the dice. So let's look at this and say, oh, you know what? I really want to try to re-roll this green die so that I can get a wasabi. So you spend one of those tokens. It's gone forever until we get another one. Well, 2 chopsticks. It didn't get what I wanted, but there it is, and that's how it is. And so we are going to, you can do that, you spend it, you do whatever, and you can keep going if you want. But then at some point you're going to need to choose a die from off of your conveyor belt. If you don't see what you want and you have a swap, what you can do is you can spend the swap, and you can look over here to your opponents, and ooh, they have, let's say I didn't roll one of these. These purple ones, they have this sashimi here. I think that's what this is. Maybe it's not, but they have this one here, right? Can't remember what it's called. The purple die with the bright green. It's a great die, so I'm going to steal that from my opponent, and I'm going to give them a purple one, but it's a dumpling, okay? So then at that point, I can choose any of the dice. I could be like, oh, well, I really didn't want that. I want to take the pudding instead. So you can take the pudding. And then it would go to the next player, and they would do there. Whenever you take pudding, you're going to come over here to the token pile and take the number of pudding shown on there. And that will be scored at the end of the game. Now we're going to play a few rounds of this, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's 3 rounds. Yes, 3 rounds. And you're going to play 3 rounds. But yeah, so I took that, and then once everyone has chosen a die, what's going to happen is we're going to shift this all to the left. So mine would come over here, and then the conveyor belts slide down, which is really cool and thematic, right? Because they're conveyor belts, and the sushi is rolling around on the table. Very cool. And so now, for this round, person with the red conveyor belt is going to start, and they're going to choose first. And then it will continue to go around, and people will choose whatever dice, right? So let's talk about the different dice. So the white dice here has the different sushi roll. Oh, what are these rolls called? I can't remember. What are they called? Hold on. Let me look it up. It's going to drive me crazy. Nigiri. So nigiri, you can see here on our player board, also is a reference board for what's on the dice. So the white dice has 2 of these 1-point nigiri, then it has 3 2-pointers, and then 1 3-pointer. Okay, so this is all the nigiri. Going to the red die only has the maki rolls on there. Okay, so it's going to have some ones with 1s, 2s, and 3s. The nigiri were straight points. The maki rolls at the end of the round, whoever has the most will get 6 points. If there's a tie, everyone will share the 6 points of the who tied, and then second most will get 3 points. The purple die has our dumplings, and you will get, if you have 1, you'll get 2 points. 2, you'll get 4, and if you have 3, you'll have 8 points. Tempura scores similarly. If you have 1, 2, or 3, you'll get those amount of points. And then we have this one here as well, which is the sashimi, and it is 1, 2, and 3 as well. So if you have 1, it's 0 points, but if you're able to get 3, it's worth 13 for that set. The green die has our wasabi on it, which works the same way as in Sushi Go. When you choose a wasabi, the very next nigiri that you get is going to go on top of it, and you're going to score 3 times whatever that was. So really works well in combo with this nigiri here. That'll get you 9 points. 2 menus, and then we have 1 or 2 chopsticks. And so if you choose those, you would immediately get those tokens. So if I choose this one with 2 menus, I get 2 menus, which are reroll tokens, and I have those for future rounds. And then those are the puddings, and they are scored at the end of the game. Whoever has the most is 6 points, fewest is -6. If you're playing with only 2 players, you're going to ignore the fewest -6, so you're just playing for the positive 6 points. The round ends when everyone is taken and selected all of the different dice. You're going to go around and around and around. Everyone's going to have their dice. And at the end of the round, you're going to check for the Maki scoring, and then you'll acquire from the middle point tokens equal to the number of points you've gotten, which is really nice. You don't have to have a pen and paper. I really like that they included these tokens. I think it works really, really well in the game. They could have done Sushi Go Party has like the little board and stuff, but I actually really like the tokens, the use of the tokens there. At the end of 3 rounds, you're going to play each of those. Now, usually with 2, 4, or 5 players, you would then just leave these where they are. You take all the dice back up, put it back in the bag, shake it up, and everyone's going to pull out dice again. In a 3-player game, so that the start player is not the same every time, you would actually, because in a 3-player game, it would have ended up with me as the start player again. What you're going to do is you're just going to pass that after that round 1 to the left. Okay, that ensures that you have a different start player for the next round. And that is Sushi Roll. Fantastic, fantastic game. Really, really enjoy this one. It has, again, that very, very similar feel of Sushi Go with the cards. They kept the same style of scoring, right? Where, it's slightly different, so it's not like pairs with the tempura. These all kind of play out like the dumplings a little bit, or like some of the, I can't remember the other cards where if you had just 1 at 0 or maybe it was 3. Anyway, so it has some unique scoring for like the sets here that you can collect, but the wasabi works the same. You have menus and chopsticks, which have similar. You have swap and re-roll with the dice, which is nice, and then the pudding, of course, being scored at the end of the game as well. Again, I think the conveyor belts and the mechanic of rolling the dice and then choosing, but being able to kind of utilize these tokens to get what you want, I really, really enjoy it. The other thing I didn't mention, but is referenced here on this as well, at the end of the game, if you didn't need to use your tokens, for every 2 of these tokens, you're going to get 1 point. So this is 1 point here, and they don't need to match. This is another point there, and then I have an extra 1 that doesn't count for anything. But that is it. And Sushi Go, the dice game, Sushi Roll, published by Game Right Games. Great follow-up. It is a great dice game, and I really enjoy the fact that it just feels like Sushi Go, but with dice, and I like how they incorporated everything. My only really complaint for the game is that I kind of miss Sushi Go Party's really big variety of things. So after you play this a while, it's really fun, it's really enjoyable, but you still are playing with the same set of things, and it would be really cool to have an expansion or something come out that has more variety of dice, and even just like a player board here, and it would have like little cardboard cutouts or like some paper things or something that you'd be able to replace the rows with, the dice that you're choosing to play with. That's a lot of dice, that's a lot more components. So I kind of understand, keep the price point low and keep things simplified. But that's really my only thing about the game, that I wish there was some more variety, but really, really fantastic. And yeah, I guess I'll just cross my fingers that they'll come out with like Sushi Roll Party or something like that, because this is a fantastic game. If you like Sushi Go, I think you'll enjoy it. If you like some looking for a fun family dice game, I think sushi roll is one that you will enjoy, and that is how Lou sees it.